Advanced French with Michel Thomas. Recording 3.
The same contractions which you use for will, you also use for would. In other words, will and would hang on the same R. For instance, what is I will have?
J'avais.
So, no, will. J'avais is I had. You have to have
an R.
Yes. Now, but the OIR verbs, they contract. What is to have?
Avoir.
Avoir. So, without the contraction, I will have would be j'avoir.
J'avoirai.
J'avoirai. Now, it contracts very much to
J'aurai.
Yes. So, again, I will have would be
J'aurai.
J'aurai. A-U-R-A-I. Yes. The endings are re, ra, rong for will, and re, up and down for would, both rion and rier. So he will have would be il aura. Yes. They will have
Ils auront.
ils auront. We will have
Nous aurons.
nous aurons, and you will have
Vous aurez.
vous aurez. What is I would have?
J'avais.
No.
I'm
Will
obsessed with
and
the
would
word.
hang on the same R. I will and I would have are very close in sound. Okay, what is I will have?
J'aurai.
Right. And the would have is also
J'aurai.
j'aurai, but spelled A-U-R.
A-I-S.
Right. Yes.
Got it.
J'aurai.
There.
A-U-R-A-I-S is I would have. J'aurai. A-U-R-A-I, I will have. Yes. But he would have is il.
Il aurait.
Right.
With a T.
Yes. They would have.
Ils auraient. A-I-E-N-T.
Right. R-A-I-E-T. And we would have.
Nous aurions.
Good. And you would have.
Vous auriez.
Right. I would have it.
Je l'aurais.
Right. We would have it.
Nous l'aurions.
We would have them.
Nous les aurions.
Nous les aurions. How would you say we would have bought them?
Nous les aurions achetés.
Right. Nous les aurions achetés. Nous les aurions into dive. How would you say I was?
J'étais.
He was.
Il était.
He had.
Il avait.
Good. He would have.
Il aurait.
Right. Il aurait. And he will have.
Il aura.
Il aura. With OIR verbs when you dive, there are not many OIR verbs left. You dive into a very short U, a very short U, usually just a one syllable. For instance, voir for seen would be vu, yes?
Yeah.
Like in déjà vu, yes? Vu. So I saw it would be
Je l'ai vu.
je l'ai vu, if I had seen it.
Si je l'avais vu.
Right. Si je l'avais vu. If I had seen it, I would have bought it.
If I had
If I
seen it.
had seen it.
Si je l'avais vu.
Right. Si je l'avais
Vu. I
I
would
would
have.
have bought it.
Je l'aurais acheté.
Right.
All right.
Si je l'avais vu, je l'aurais acheté. So, voir becomes vu. Savoir becomes one syllable. Su. Su.
Su.
Yes. So, if I had known it, would be
Si je l'avais su.
right. Si je l'avais su, I would have told you. Now here comes the would have.
Je vous aurais.
Good. Je vous aurais. And now you dive. Told.
Dit.
Right. Je vous aurais dit. If I had known it, I would have told you.
Si je l'avais su, je vous aurais dit.
Yes. Si je l'avais su, je vous aurais dit. And if you had told me, I would have seen it and I would have bought it.
Okay. If you had told
If you had told me,
Si vous m'aviez dit.
si vous m'aviez dit, yes, now comes I would have.
J'aurais.
Right. I would have seen it.
Je l'aurais vu.
Right. Je l'aurais vu and I would have bought it.
Et je l'aurais acheté.
Right. Je l'aurais vu et je l'aurais acheté. He wouldn't wait.
Il n'aurait pas attendu.
Oh, this is very good. You just said correctly. He wouldn't have waited because you gave me the re. You took the diving board. But you did it correctly. Il n'aurait pas attendu. He wouldn't have waited. We have to make a distinction in English, the same as in French, between would and would have. So would have is aurait. And then you dive, as you did. But if you want to see just plain would, is the re of whatever follows would in English. You wouldn't wait.
Vous n'attendriez pas.
Vous n'attendriez pas. We wouldn't wait.
Nous n'attendrions pas.
But nous n'attendrions pas. So whenever you have an AIS or the RAIS, you're in the same sound box and short, and ion or rion and ea or rie long. So we have to make a distinction for wood between what I call plain wood going into the woods,
Yeah.
or would have. Would have is would have, and for would have you use short
Aurait.
aurait, right? Aurait, up and down, and long,
Aurions and auriez.
right? Aurion and aurier. He would sell it, is
Il le vendrait.
yes, il le vendrait.
Okay.
This is the plain wood. He would have sold it. He would have sold it.
Is it il aurait le vendu? Or is it the le before the aurait? So it's il l'aurait vendu.
Good.
Okay.
Il l'aurait vendu. Yes. So on the diving board, all the pronouns, everything has to be cleared before. Il l'aurait vendu. Yes. What is? I did it.
Je l'ai fait.
Right. Je l'ai fait.
Je l'ai fait.
And I didn't do it.
Je ne l'ai pas fait.
Right. Je ne l'ai pas fait. Why did you do it?
Pourquoi l'avez-vous fait?
Right.
Okay.
Pourquoi l'avez-vous fait? Why didn't you do it?
Pourquoi ne l'avez-vous pas fait?
Very good. Pourquoi ne l'avez-vous pas fait? Yes. I told you.
Je vous ai dit.
Right. Je vous ai dit. I didn't tell you.
Je ne vous ai pas dit.
Je ne vous ai pas dit. You didn't tell me.
Vous ne m'avez pas dit.
Right. Vous ne m'avez pas dit. Why didn't you tell me?
Pourquoi ne m'avez-vous pas dit?
Right. Pourquoi ne m'avez-vous pas dit? So again, what is was short
Était.
and long?
Étiez and étions.
Right. Etienne, étions, étions, étiez. Had short
Avait,
and long.
aviez, and avion.
Right. Would have short,
Short is aurait.
aurait, and long.
Aurions, auriez.
Right. Aurion and aurier. What is I was busy?
J'étais occupé.
J'étais occupé. Yes. He was not here.
Il n'était pas ici.
Right. Il n'était pas ici. Who was there last night?
Qui était là
Last night?
hier soir?
Right. Qui était là hier soir? Yes. Nobody was there.
Personne était là.
Personne n'était là. Yes. I was there with my friend, but you were not there.
J'étais là avec mon ami,
Right? But you were not there.
mais vous n'étiez pas là.
Right. Mais vous n'étiez pas là. Where were you last night?
Où étiez-vous hier soir?
Right. What is... I was very busy and I didn't have the time to do it.
J'étais très occupée et
I
je
didn't have, I
je
had not
n'avais pas le temps
to do it.
le faire,
To le faire.
de
Yes.
le faire, right?
So say it again. I was very busy and I didn't have the time to do it.
J'étais très occupé,
And I had not the time to do it.
mais je n'avais pas le temps de le faire.
Right. Yes. J'étais très occupé, je n'avais pas le temps de le faire. With OIR verbs, when you dive into the short U. Like have, avoir, when you dive, I have had would be j'ai
Eu.
eu. Right. You can't make it shorter. Avoir eu. Yes. So j'ai eu. So the diving part of have is eu. Of savoir would be su. Yes. Of pouvoir,
Pu,
pu. Of devoir,
du,
dû. Of voir,
Vous.
vu. Think of whistling an E. Vu.
Vous.
Once more. Vu.
Vous.
It's an important sound because you have to make a distinction between seen, vu, or you. Vous is you.
Vous.
So how would you say, did you see?
avez-vous vu?
Yes, avez-vous vu? Vu. Point your lips and think of an E. So once more, did you see?
Avez-vous vu?
Right, that was good. Avez-vous vu? Yes. Did you see it?
L'avez-vous vu?
Very good. Where did you see me?
Où m'avez-vous vu?
Yes. I was there last night, but I didn't see you.
J'étais là
Last
hier
night,
soir,
Right? J'étais là hier soir, but
mais
I didn't see you.
je ne vous ai pas vu.
Right? J'étais là hier soir, mais je ne vous ai pas vu. Where were you?
Où étiez-vous?
Right. I didn't see you.
Je ne vous ai pas vu.
Right. Je ne vous ai pas vu. How would you say again? I had, the diving board is
J'avais,
j'avais. I would have is
j'aurais.
j'aurais. So we have a whole tower. The low diving board is have. Like, I saw it, I have seen it would be
J'ai vu,
it.
je l'ai vu.
Je l'ai vu. That's the low diving board, have. Then we have the middle diving board, that is the had board. So again, had is
Avez.
short, avait, and long,
Aviez, avion.
right. Now, if you go all the way up, then you get to what have, which is,
Aurait.
and long,
Auriez, aurions.
auriez and orient. Yes. So, if you want to say, I saw it, would be,
Je l'ai vu.
je l'ai vu.
Vu.
No, the middle diving board, if I had seen it,
Si je l'avais vu.
right, si je l'avais vu. And if you want to go all the way up, the dive from the high board is would have. I would have seen it.
Je l'aurais vu.
Right, je l'aurais vu. And I would have told you why I didn't buy it. I would have told you.
Et je vous aurais dit
Why?
pourquoi
I didn't buy it.
je ne l'ai pas acheté?
Right. Je vous aurais dit pourquoi je ne l'ai pas acheté. Yes. He told me that he wouldn't do it.
Il m'a dit.
Right, que he wouldn't do it.
Il l'aurait pas fait.
Il ne l'aurait pas fait. It's very good. That means he wouldn't have done it. You have to be aware of the distinction between what I call plain would, just going into the woods, and would have. You gave me would have.
Okay.
But I said, he told me that he wouldn't do it. There's no have in there. No diving. So he
it's
wouldn't do it.
Il ne le ferait pas.
Right, that's it.
Okay.
Il le ferait pas. What is I had? I had is
J'avais.
j'avais, yes. If you had told it to me, I would have known it.
Si vous me l'aviez dit,
I would have known it.
je l'aurais c'est
The word is to know,
savoir.
savoir. So say it again. I would have known it.
Je l'aurais su.
That was good. Je l'aurais su was well pronounced. Okay. Je l'aurais su. Yes. There are a handful of verbs where you usually don't dive. Not from the low diving board. Like I was, you will not say I have been. So I was would be
J'étais.
j'étais, yes, straight. J'étais. We were.
Nous étions.
Nous étions. And you were.
Vous étiez.
Yes. What is had? I had is.
J'aurais. J'avais.
Yes. If you hear j'aurais.
It's would. I'm on the high diving board.
Say it again. J'aurais means I
would have.
I would have, yes. Yeah. So again, I had is j'avais rather than j'ai eu. So with was and had, for instance, you will dive if you want to say, if I had, would be si.
Si j'avais eu.
Yes. Si j'avais eu, or si j'avais eu le temps.
J'avais eu.
Yes. So I was is again.
J'étais.
J'étais. But been in French is été, but spelled E-T-E with an accent over each E. The accent aigu going from right to left down over the E, which gives the E the sound of an A. So été means been. Été actually has two meanings. Été means been. Été also means summer. So en été would be in summer. You may see in Paris signs mode d'été, summer fashion, or robe d'été would be summer dress. So that would not mean been. But if you want to say, if I had been there, I would have seen it. How would you say that?
Si j'avais
Been
été là.
there. Yes. Si j'avais, now you dive, été là, I would have seen
J'aurais.
it.
Je l'aurais vu.
Right. Je l'aurais vu. Si j'avais été là, si j'avais été là, je l'aurais vu. Yes. You would have seen it if you had been there. You would have seen it.
Vous l'auriez vu.
Right? Vous l'auriez vu if you had been there last night.
Si vous aviez
Been
été
there.
là hier soir.
Right. Si vous aviez été là hier soir. But what was and had, for the direct past, you don't have to dive. Because was, you know, is été, and had is
Avait.
Avait.
once more
Avait.
avait. And that goes also with what I call the handles, which are always followed by the full verb. Because whenever you have 2 or 3 consecutive verbs, the second and third verb is always the full verb, the infinitive. You only dive after any form of have, after any form of to be. So handles like can, I could. With those handles, you go into the AIS. If you can't get the right into it, think of you in the present. If you want to say I could, what is you can?
Vous pouvez.
Yes, vous pouvez. So, vous pouvez, so I could would be je. It has a sound of you can. You just change the EZ, the EZ into an AIS.
Je pourrais. Je
The
pouvais.
moment you stick in the R, it's will or would. Again, I could would be, therefore, once more,
Je pouvais.
je pouvais. Yes, spelled
P-O-U-V-A-I-S.
right. Yes, since you have an AIS, you know that the whole short box for could is
Pouvez.
pouvait. They could,
Il pouvait.
il pouvait. Spelled
P-O-U-V-A-I-E-N-T.
right. Nobody could wait.
Personne
Could
pouvait attendre.
attendre. It's a handle. Personne pouvait attendre. We could,
Nous pouvions.
right, because whenever you have an AIS, long, I-O-N-S, I-E-Z, I-E-Z, nous pouvions, and you could,
Vous pouviez.
say it again,
Vous pouviez.
vous pouviez, right,
Viez.
vous
Okay.
pouviez, pouvions and pouviez. So far we have was is short,
Été.
était, and long,
Étions. Étiez.
right, had, short,
Avait.
long,
Avion. Aviez.
right, could, short,
Pouvait.
and long,
Pouvions. Pouviez.
yes, once more,
Pouvions. Pouviez.
pouviez, right,
Pouviez.
yes,
Okay.
pouvions and pouviez. Then we have must. What is you must? You have to, would,
Vous devez.
vous devez. So the past would be I had to, would be.
J'ai.
With the handles you don't dive. You use the EZ and change it to an AIS.
Je devais.
Right, je devais,
Yeah.
right. Devais would be spelled
AIS.
AIS, G-E-V-A-I-S. So he had to wait.
Il devait attendre.
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 Right, once more.
Il devait attendre.
Il devait attendre. One had to wait.
On devait attendre.
On devait attendre. Yes. On devait attendre could also mean we had to wait. Yes. Or we had to wait. Nous,
Nous devions
Right.
attendre.
nous devions attendre. Another handle is to want, vouloir. Yes. How would you say I wanted?
Je voulais.
Very good. Once more.
Je voulais.
Right. Voulais spelled
V-O-U-L-A-I-S.
right. V-O-U-L-A-I-S. Yes. You took it from vous voulez. You changed the EZ, EZ to an AIS. How would you say he had to wait?
Il devait attendre.
Right. This is a part of what I like to refer to as having a sharpened awareness of your own language in order to be able to express yourself very clearly in another language. It's important to know that in English you have to make a distinction between have and have to. Have to is not have. Have to means must. I have to do it, as I must do it. Je dois le faire. So he had to wait.
Il
Had
devait
to, il devait
attendre.
attendre. Again, you have to wait.
Vous devez attendre.
Vous devez attendre. You don't have to wait.
Vous ne devez pas attendre.
Now I'm coming back to sharpened awareness of your own language. When you say in English, you have to wait, what does it mean? You have to wait. You
Must wait.
must wait. Right. If you say in English, you don't have to wait, does that mean you must not wait? Does it? Oh, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. No. So therefore, what you said, vous ne devez pas attendre, you just expressed in French, you must not wait. But actually, this is not what you meant in English, did you? No. When you say you don't have to wait. The question is, what are you trying to say in English? Somehow, find a way. I mean, there are many ways to express any thought.
Could you say it's not necessary to wait?
Yes, it is not necessary for you to wait. That is actually what you're trying to say, yes? You don't have to wait. It is not necessary for you to wait. That would be one way. I mean, the other ways, yes? It is not necessary. Would be?
Ce n'est pas nécessaire.
Ce n'est pas nécessaire, and so on. Another way, really, if you want to say you don't have to wait, it means you don't
Need to wait.
Right. You don't need to wait. Yes. So you see, in English, have to, in the positive sense, means must. You have to wait. You must wait. But in the negative sense, you don't have to do it, means you don't need to do it. You don't have to wait. You don't need to wait. You can get around it, as you just said. It is not necessary for you to wait or whatever. Yes. But actually, if you want really to say you don't have to wait, you're trying to say you don't need to wait. The question is, how do you say that in French? What is to have need?
Avoir besoin. So
Avoir besoin, it's right. So you don't have to wait, you don't need to wait, you don't have need of waiting. So,
vous n'avez pas besoin d'attendre.
Right. If you want to say you don't have to wait, means you don't need to wait, it's vous n'avez pas besoin d'attendre. Which is used very much for you don't have to. So if you want to say you don't have to give it to him.
Vous n'avez pas besoin de lui donner.
To give it to him.
Le lui donner.
Right. Vous n'avez pas besoin de le lui donner. You don't need to give it to me.
Vous n'avez pas besoin de me le donner.
Right. Very good. So you see the difference between le lui and me le. When you get into the use of the language, it's also important to have a sharpened awareness of your own language, to know what am I trying to say. If you don't find it one way, you find it another way, as you did, ce n'est pas nécessaire or whatever, yes? Another example would be will. Will in English usually expresses the future tense, but not always. It is curious to me, and it shouldn't be by now, whenever I talk to people who have done years of school French or college French, they will give me, for will you tell me, me direz-vous, future tense. Will you tell me sometime in the future when you get around to it? Because to them, will is future tense. Not always in English. When you start out in English with will you please, it's a polite request. In French would be
Voulez-vous me dire?
right. So will you in the sense of will you please is not the future tense, but a polite request. And that polite request is always voulez-vous. But if you want to say, when will you tell me? That is different. It's only when you start out with, in English, with will you please, then it is not the future. But if you say, when will you, how will you, why will you, That's future. When will you tell me? Quand me direz-vous? Or quand allez-vous me dire? When are you going to tell me? But just, will you tell me? Will you please tell me?
Voulez-vous?
Voulez-vous me dire, right? It's a handle. This is what I mean. Sharpened awareness of your own language. So, again, we have a handful of verbs. Instead of diving, we use the AIS handles, plus was and had. Again, was, short is
Été.
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 And long?
Étiez. Étions.
Right. Étiez and étions. Had would be,
Avait,
and long?
aviez, avions.
Right. Could is
Pouvez,
pouvait, and long?
pouviez, pouvions.
Pouviez and pouvions. Had to. Short.
Devez.
Devait. And long?
Devions. Deviez.
Right. And wanted.
Short would be voulez.
Voulait. And long?
Vouliez. Voulions.
Right. Yes. If you want to say, I didn't want to do it.
Je ne le voulais. I didn't want. Okay. Je ne voulais pas le faire.
Right. It's a handle. Je ne
Right,
voulais
right.
pas le faire. I didn't want to do it. Je ne voulais pas le faire. Yes. He didn't want to tell me.
Il ne voulait pas me dire.
Right. Il ne voulait pas me dire. Yes. There's one more, and that is I knew would be. You're going
J'ai
to,
su.
but there you dive. Yes. I will explain to you later the difference. But I knew you also use the AIS.
Je savais.
Je savais. So I didn't know would be
Je ne savais pas.
je ne savais pas. Yes. Nobody knew where it was. Nobody could find it.
Personne sait où.
Nobody knew where it was.
Personne savait.
Right.
Personne savait.
Personne savait, yes, where it was.
Où c'était.
Right? Personne savait où c'était. Nobody could find it.
Personne pouvait le trouver.
Right. Personne pouvait le trouver. Yes. So we have here actually a handful of verbs where you use the AIS rather than diving. Yes. So we already had was and had. Yes. Was
Était.
and had
Avait.
avait. But then the handful of could,
Pouvait.
wanted,
Voulait.
had to,
Devait.
devait, knew.
Savait.
That is for the simple past. Of course, if you want to use had and would have, then you have to dive. I knew where it was would be,
Je savais où c'était.
right? Je savais où c'était. Yes. So you use for the past the AIS, je savais, rather than j'ai su. Yes. But if you want to say, if I had known where it was, I would have told it to you. No, if I had known, no, you have to dive. Yes, I had.
Si j'avais su
Right. Si j'avais su where it was,
où c'était,
I would have told it to you.
j'aurais,
I would have told it to you.
je vous l'aurais dit.
Yes, very good. Je vous l'aurais dit. So you see here the difference between just the plain past, je savais, rather than j'ai su. But if you want to say had known or would have known, of course, avait su or aurait su. So the same goes for I wanted to buy it would be,
Je voulais l'acheter.
right, je voulais l'acheter, yes. If I had wanted to have it, I would have bought it. Ah, I didn't give you yet the past, the diving of vouloir. But it's short, it's an OIR verb, but vu is already taken by voir, by sehen. So one had to go to the next syllable here, voulu.
Voulu.
It's understandable that one couldn't use vu, yes?
Right.
So it's voulu. So if I had wanted to have it,
Si j'avais voulu.
to have it,
Si je l'avais voulu.
that is if I had
Oh.
wanted it. If I had
Okay.
wanted
To
have it.
Okay. Si j'avais voulu
To have it.
l'avoir.
Right. Si j'avais voulu l'avoir, I would have bought it.
Je l'aurais acheté.
Good. Je l'aurais acheté. Yes. Okay. So these are the handful of handles, yes? There's one more handle, a very important handle, and that is the go handle. You know, vouloir, for instance, I want, je veux, is not always a handle. Can be a verb. If you want to say, I want it, then it is not a handle. Je le veux. But I want to have it, I want to see it, I want to go there, then it is a handle. When it is followed by other verbs. So, like go, to go can be not a handle. I'm going there, I'm going home, I'm going whatever. But I'm going to do it, I'm going to see it, I'm going to buy it, then it's an important handle. It's also an important handle to express the future tense. I'm going to call you tomorrow. Now, as a handle, going, for the past, you use AIS, which means I was going would be
J'allais.
right. Spelled
A-L-L-A-I-S.
right. ALLAIS. J'allais is I was going. So, for instance, I was going to do it. Would be
J'allais le faire.
right. I wasn't going to tell you.
Je n'allais pas vous dire.
Right. Je n'allais pas vous dire. Yes. How would you say I didn't know you were going to come today? I didn't know.
Je ne savais pas.
Very good. That's one of those. I didn't know
Je ne savais pas
that
que
you were going to come.
vous allez venir.
Vous allez venir is you are going to come.
Vous alliez
Right.
venir.
Vous alliez venir. Yes. You didn't tell me that you were going to be here. You didn't tell me.
Vous ne me direz pas.
Sounds very good.
Diriez pas.
Sounds even better. The moment you hit the R,
Oh,
what does it mean? It was
Would.
the R means
would.
either would
Or
or
the future.
Will.
or
Yeah.
will. Will or would. You didn't tell me.
Vous ne m'avez pas
Once more?
dit. Vous ne m'avez pas dit.
Right. You see, it only takes a moment of thought, of thinking. Yes. Vous ne m'avez pas dit that you were going to be here this afternoon. Afternoon, after is après, noon is midday, midi, cet après-midi is this afternoon. So say it again. You didn't tell me.
Vous ne m'avez pas dit
Vous ne m'avez pas dit that
que
you were going to be here.
vous alliez
Good. Vous
être
alliez
ici
être ici this afternoon.
cet après-midi.
Cet après-midi. Yes. So we have the aller, the going, we put the AIS as a past handle, was going. We were going to leave today.
Nous allions partir aujourd'hui.
Right. Nous allions partir aujourd'hui. Yes. If you had called me and if you had told me that you were going to arrive today, I would have waited for you and we would have had dinner. If you had called me.
Si vous aviez,
If you had called me,
si vous m'aviez appelé,
right? Si vous m'aviez appelé, si vous m'aviez appelé this morning.
Ce matin.
Ce matin. Si vous m'aviez appelé
Oui,
ce
ce
matin.
matin.
And if you had told me, you had,
Si vous m'aviez dit
right? Et si vous m'aviez dit that you were going to arrive today.
que
You were going,
vous alliez arriver
right? Que vous alliez arriver today,
aujourd'hui,
I would have awaited you. I would have waited for you. I would have awaited you.
je vous attendrai.
Je vous attendrai is I would wait for you. Remember, we have to make the distinction with would between would and would have. Here it is not, I would wait for you.
I would have, okay.
But I would have.
Je vous aurais attendre.
You never dive into the full verb, into the infinitive. Never, ever.
Je vous aurais attendu.
Right. Je vous aurais attendu. And we would have dined. We would have had dinner.
Nous aurions dîné.
Right. Et nous aurions dîné. We have to make a distinction between I am going to do it, the present handle, and I was going to do it. So once more, I am going to do it would be
Je vais le faire.
Je vais le faire. I was going to do it.
J'allais le faire.
J'allais le faire. Yes. We are going to do it. We are going to do it.
Nous allons le faire.
Nous allons le faire. And we were going to do it.
Nous allions le faire.
Right. You are going to do it.
Vous allez le faire.
Vous allez le faire. And you were going to do it.
Vous alliez le faire.
Vous alliez le faire. So here in the long box, the distinction between we are going, nous allons, and we were going, nous allions. You are going, vous allez, but you were going, vous alliez. In both cases, we have the ing. We are going, we were going, you are going, you were going. Yes. So we have here the distinction in English between the present ing, aming, ising, aring, and the past ing, wasing and wering. I was going, you were going, we were going, he was going. In the past, the ing in the past, for wasing and wearing, we have a W. Was going, were going. Whereas in the present ing, there is no W. I am going, you are going, he is going, we are going, and so on. So there's ing without the W, but in the past, ing with the W. The W-ing, well, I call it the wing. So you have to wing it into the AIS, yes, aller, 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 ART, and so on. And you wing it for we, allions and alliés, yes. But if there's no W, you're in the present. So he is going to do it would be
Il va le faire.
Il va le faire, yes. He wasn't going to do it. Wasn't going to do it, there's a W.
Il n'allait pas le faire.
Il n'allait pas le faire, yes. We are going to leave.
Nous allons partir.
Right, nous allons partir. And we were going to leave.
Nous allions partir.
Nous allions partir, yes. You didn't tell me that you were going to arrive today.
Vous ne m'avez pas dit.
Vous ne m'avez pas dit that you were going to arrive today.
Que vous alliez
Right.
arriver aujourd'hui.
Right. Vous ne m'avez pas dit que here's the wing, vous alliez arriver aujourd'hui. That wing, it's important also because it so happens that you will have now a tense, which I call the wing tense, which you can do with any verb. Whenever you have the ing in English for the W, I was doing, I was waiting, I was buying it, I was eating, I was whatever you were doing, you wing it. And in French, you wing it into the AIS, AIT, and so on for short, and the ion and IE for long. What you've been doing now with aller and allion and allier, you can do with any verb, with all verbs, and you wing it. So if you want to say, I am staying would be
Je reste.
je reste. And I was staying, the wing,
Je restais.
je restais. We were staying here.
Nous restions ici.
Yes. How would you say, he is waiting for me, he is awaiting me,
Il m'attend.
il m'attend. He was waiting for me, you wing it,
Il m'attendait.
il m'attendait. We were waiting for you.
Nous m'attendions.
We were waiting for you. Nous,
Oh, nous vous attendions.
right. Nous vous attendions. There's the wing. We were waiting for you, and we are waiting for you.
Nous vous attendons.
Nous vous attendons. Right. Yes. He is leaving,
Il part.
and he was leaving.
Il partait.
Il partait. We were leaving.
Nous partions.
Right. Yes. That is the wing tense. A little more about the wing tense. The wing tense is used more, actually, in French than in English. I will explain to you, and it will help you also in reading, because you will see it. The wing tense expresses a straight line in the past. If you want to say, I was doing it, would be je le faisais. In the case of faire, you cannot say fait. You stick in the S, faisais. The same for I was saying it or telling it would be je
Je le disais.
le disais. Right. What is to read?
Lire.
Lire. And I was reading would be
Je lisais.
je lisais. To write is écrire, but I was writing is j'écrivais, for the V. Now, if you say I was doing it once more is
Je le faisais.
je le faisais. Je le faisais, I was doing it, expresses a line in the past, a straight line. I was doing it, it could be, I was doing it for a short period of time, and for a longer period of time, it can be a very long straight line, indefinite straight line. In French, that straight line for the wing, that line can also be a broken line. Would mean in English, I used to do it. So therefore, je le faisais could mean I was doing it as a straight line, but it can also mean I used to do it. Or I did it repeatedly. I did it every day is a broken line. I did it very often, a broken line. In English, you don't make that distinction between I did it this morning or I did it every day. I did it all the time, I did it very often. I did it, and I did it. This doesn't mean that in the spoken language all French people speak their own language very correctly. But you will find it, of course, in literature, in the written, printed language. There's a difference between I did it, je l'ai fait, and I did it every day. Je le faisais tous les jours. Je le faisais très souvent. Souvent, S-O-U-V-E-N-T, means often. Or fréquemment, frequently. So you do make that distinction. The difference between he prepared it this morning, il l'a préparé ce matin. Oh, he used to prepare it, he prepared it every day, all the time. Il le préparait. That is the wing tense. For some reason, which I don't know yet, they call the wing tense the imparfait. The imperfect tense. What is imperfect about it, I don't know. How do you get from the imperfect and figure out how to do it? Okay, we wing it. There's something else. We have a living language is an expression of living people. And whatever is alive, whatever lives, goes through changes. we change. And that goes, of course, also with living languages. Vocabulary may change. The meaning of some words may change. New words come in. Words may be obsolete. If we read English of Shakespeare, we have to know what words mean, words that are used in modern English, which may have had a different meaning in Shakespeare. It's cool, yes? Now, I would like to have another look at verbs. We have verbs that are, in a way, I call it very much alive, meaning new verbs will be absorbé, absorbed. But we have others where there's a closed book, in a way dead, meaning no new verbs ever will enter those. For instance, the ER verbs, the ER conjugation, I told you more than 80% of all verbs end in ER. So if you want to guess, which incidentally I will and want to encourage you to do, guessing. You may be surprised because I always said, no guessing, even if you guess right, I don't like it. It will be wrong. Yes. No guessing in structure. In vocabulary, it's all right, because you will have developed enough of a sentiment, a sentiment, a sens pour la langue, for the language, to know what in English is d'origine française, of French origin, and what in English is of Anglo-Saxon origin. So it's good to guess. As far as vocabulary is concerned, it's pretty safe in guessing to make it an ER verb. But if we take, for instance, the RE verbs, it's a closed book. Finished. There will never ever be any new verb added to those in existence, adding an RE. OIR, again, whatever is left of them is finished. There will never ever be any new verb added to the OIR verbs. Now let's look at the IR verbs. Curious that somehow the IR verbs split off into two directions, into two branches. We have two branches of IR verbs. So far, we only have used one branch. I'm going to introduce to you the other branch. The branch which we have been using is finished. In other words, that is the branch where no new verbs will be added. But now comes another branch, and there was one of those monks, I forgot his name, who was playing around with it, and somehow with an injection of a double S into the plural, it started functioning, became a live branch. I'll explain to you how it works. What the monk did, he took the Latin verb for to go, ir, which we use for the future. J'irai, I will go. Il ira, he will go. Il irait, he would go. So ir, he used Latin to go, ir, hooking it on to a noun or to an adjective, and it gave the movement, the motion of going, growing, becoming, getting. And it worked. For instance, let's take finir. La fin means the end. Finir, to go to the end, is to finish. Finir. And that is conjugated differently from the other IR verbs, because finir, you just drop the R. Not the IR, just the R. So I finish would be
Je finis.
Once more?
Je finis.
Je finis. Finis. He is finishing would be
Il finit.
Spelled?
Finit.
All right, finit. But to give it life, that monk used a double S injection into the whole plural. For instance, we finish would be nous finissons. with a double S. You finish.
Vous finissez.
Vous finissez. F-I-N-I-S-S-E-Z. They finish, ils finissent. Spelled?
F-I-N-I-S-S-E-N-T.
Right. F-I-N-I-S-S-E-N-T, ils finissent. So short goes fini, 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 finissent, and long, finissons and finissez. I will give you now French verbs with IR hooked onto adjectives or nouns and try to figure out what it would mean in English. For instance, grandir. What would that mean?
Big, bigger.
It's a verb. To
Grow.
To grow is right. To go big. To grow big. To grow. Grandir. So if you want to say the child is growing, would be l'enfant.
Grandi.
L'enfant grandit. The children are growing. Les enfants.
Grandissent.
Yes. Say it again.
Grandissent.
Right. Les enfants grandissent. Okay. Another one. Let's say rougir. What would that mean?
To blush, to grow red.
To blush, to grow, become red, to blush. Yes. You may say, you are blushing would be.
Vous rougissez.
Right, vous rougissez. How about pâlir? What would that mean? All right. P-A-L-E or whatever in English.
Pale. To pale. To,
Yes.
To become pale.
Yeah, you may say to somebody, what's the matter with you? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? What's the matter? You're getting pale. How would you say you're getting pale?
Vous pâlissez.
Vous pâlissez, right. Okay. What about vieillir? What would that mean?
To grow old.
Right. To grow old. To go old, to get old, to grow old. Vieillir. So he is growing old would be il
Vieillit.
Il vieillit. Yes. They're growing old. Ils vieillissent. Okay. What about rajeunir? Jeune, what does that mean?
Young.
Young.
Young. So rajeunir would be?
To grow young.
To grow young
Again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rajeunir, to
Rejuvenate.
rejuvenate.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, another one. What would be atterrir? La terre means the land, the earth. So atterrir would be to...
Land.
Yes. Air France, they may say, attachez vos ceintures, nous allons atterrir dans quelques minutes. We are going to land. Or they may say, we are landing in a few minutes.
Nous atterrissons.
Nous atterrissons dans quelques minutes.
quelques
Right. Nous atterrissons. Or, how about amérir? What would that mean?
To land in the water. The sea.
You have to have a French mind. Yes. Because the French mind cannot imagine how one can say in a language like in English, to land on the water, to land on the sea. How can you land? You land on the land, but you cannot land on the water. If you want to land on the sea, which does not make sense to the French mind, you have to amérir. In English, you would say the seaplane lands on the water, yes? Which does not make sense in French. If you want to land in a seaplane, that would be amérir. So in a seaplane, you will say, nous amérissons. Now, you can figure out how the French would coin a new verb with landing on the moon. Landing on the moon, they will not say atterrir. They will not say amérir. What will they say?
Allunir.
Allunir is right. This is what they use for landing on the moon. In English, you have to land on the moon, you have to land on the water. You have to land on the land, and they may be watching them and say, they're landing on the moon, would be
Ils allunissent.
Ils allunissent. I want to talk to you about a family of verbs. Verbs that end in vir, like ouvrir, to open. O-U-V-R-I-R, ouvrir. So with vir or f-r-i-r, like to offer, offrir, to cover, couvrir, to discover, découvrir, or to suffer, souffrir. So vrir and frier. They had a family meeting. It's a close family. And that family meeting, they decided to get off the IR verbs because they were not with the life branch, but with the other branch. But then they said, well, what will we do? We're too few. Let's see if we can make a deal someplace. Where? Well, how about trying to join the ER verbs? But we'll get lost there. They wanted to maintain their identity. Well, let's talk to them. And they did. And they succeeded to reach an agreement where they will join the ER verbs, meaning they will be used like any ER verb. They assimilated, almost. But they maintained they still are IR verbs, but they wanted a mark of distinction. And that mark of distinction, finally, they got and they maintained, and they were allowed to keep it, allowed by the ER verbs. The mark of distinction is what they dive into, meaning the past participle, what they dive into. With all of them, it's only used by them. From ouvrir, opened, or open is ouvert, O-U-V-E-R-T. We have in English overt, an overt act of aggression or whatever. Overt comes from ouvert. So ouvert is opened. It's also used as an adjective. Very often the diving parts are used as adjectives, like in English. Tired is actually the past participle of to tire. Occupied, and so on. So ouvert means open and opened. So I opened it would be
Je l'ai ouvert.
Je l'ai ouvert. So opened or open is the same. It is opened or it is open would be, how would you say that?
C'est ouvert.
C'est ouvert. It is open. Yes. So the same goes with couvrir, to cover. Covered would be
Couvert.
couvert. Yes. So everything is covered would be
Tout est couvert.
tout est couvert. Tout est or tout est couvert. Yes. To discover, dis, the prefix dis in French is de, de with an accent. So discovered would be
Découvert.
découvert. Yes. So he discovered it would be
Il l'a découvert.
il l'a découvert. Yes. To offer is offrir. And I offered it to you.
Je vous l'ai offert.
Right. So offrir is,
Offert.
yes, O-F-F-E-R-T, offert. So I offered it, je l'ai offert. Yes. How would you say, I offered it to you.
Je vous l'ai offert.
Right. Say it again.
Je vous l'ai offert.
Je vous l'ai offert.
Okay.
Right. How would you say, I offered it to him?
Je le lui ai offert.
Good. Je le lui ai offert. Yes. So you got the difference, yes, between
Yes.
je vous l'ai offert, I offered it to you, vous l'ai, and je le lui ai offert, I offered it to him. We have the use of two forms for you in French. We have been using vous for you, vous also for all of you, plural. But then we also have the use of tu, which used to be in English thou. Where goest thou? Thou art. And tu, for you, thou, is used as a familiar form. Familiar form meaning family, friends, close friends, sometimes colleagues. Before going more into it, or explaining when to use it or when not to use it, I'll quickly show you how to use it. The how to use it is very simple, because tu, tu, pronounced tu. Again, you have the u.
Tu.
Tu. Once more.
Tu.
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 Right, good.
Tu.
Oh, tu. Tu is in a short box. Meaning, in the short box, you always follow the sound of I. Correction, I said always. There are 3 exceptions for 3 verbs where you do not follow the sound of I. And that is with have. I have j'ai, but he has is not il est, but il a. Yes, so there is one exception. Another exception, I'm going is je vais, but he's going is not il va, but il va. And the third exception is je suis, and he is not il suis, but il est. So these are the only 3 exceptions. For tu, you always follow the sound of I, except for the 3 exceptions where you follow the sound of he, she, it. That's it.
Okay.
So you have would be tu a. Tu a, spelled A-S, okay. Because for tu you have an S. You are going would be tu
Va.
Tu vas. And you are would be
Tu es.
Tu es. It's just spelled es. That's how you use tu. Tu as a subject. As an object would be te. For instance, if you want to say, what are you saying, would be qu'est-ce que
tu dis?
Right. Qu'est-ce que tu dis? Yes. But I'm telling you would be
Je te dis.
Je te dis. Right. That is how to use it. The question is when. I'll give you a simple answer to it, which is a safe one also. Whenever you meet people, use vous. In other words, even if you can get into a close relationship, don't initiate the tu. Yes. So if they initiate it, they can fall right into it. But just don't initiate. That's it. So you will see that it depends very much also on the social setting. Yes. I'm looking now at the tenses with the ing in English. I'm doing it, for instance, would be
Je le fais.
Je le fais, yes. I don't do it.
Je ne le fais pas.
Je ne le fais pas. Now, in English, you also have the ing. If you say, I have been doing it. If you say, I have been is J-A-T and doing, but what do you do with doing? Well, whenever you want to say, I have been doing it for, like for a long time, for whatever, in French, you simply use the present tense. Because in English, I've been doing it, meaning I'm still doing it. So you're using the present tense with depuis, since. I've been doing it for a long time. I'm doing it since a long time. I've been living here for 10 years. In French, you'll say, oh yeah, I'm living here, meaning I'm still living here. I'm living here since 10 years. That shouldn't be difficult for you because you may have heard it often in English, how people, not only French people, but Hispanics or Germans will say, we are living here, we live here since 20 years already. And they will ask you, well, since how long do you live here? They will not say, how long have you been living here? Since how long do you live here? You have heard that, yes?
Yes.
Because this is what they do in their own language, meaning here in French. In French, they will say, depuis combien de temps? Or depuis quand? Since when? Habitez-vous ici? Do you live here? Always the present tense, with since. Either they use depuis for since, or they may also say, it makes how long? Ça fait combien de temps que? It makes how long that you live here? Ça fait combien de temps que vous habitez ici? Ça fait combien de temps que vous travaillez ici? How long have you been working here? Ça fait, it makes. Or depuis combien de temps travaillez-vous ici? Ça fait combien de temps que vous travaillez ici? Either way. But always the present tense. So if you want to say, oh, he has been working here for a long time.
Il travaille ici depuis
longtemps. Right. Il travaille ici depuis longtemps. And you may even throw in déjà, a long time already. So déjà is used much more in French than it is used in English. Not as much as in German. So how would you say, if you had been here last night, you would have seen it and you would have bought it.
Si vous aviez
Good. Si vous aviez been
été
here.
ici,
Right. Si vous aviez été ici last night,
hier soir,
you would have seen it.
vous l'auriez, vous
Vous is you.
vous
No, you have to whistle an E.
vous l'aurez vu.
Right. Yes,
Okay.
once more.
Vous l'aurez vu
Right, vous l'auriez vu, and you would have bought it.
et vous l'auriez acheté.
Right. Vous l'auriez vu et vous l'auriez acheté. Yes. Everything is sold.
Tu t'es vendu.
Tu t'es vendu. Everything was sold.
Tu t'étais vendu.
Tu t'es vendu. Everything will be sold.
Tu seras vendu.
Tu seras vendu. Everything would be sold.
Tu serais vendu.
Tu serais vendu. Everything would have been sold. Would have
Tu aurais
been
été vendu.
Aha. It's a double dive. Yes.
Yeah.
Aurait is a diving board. It is a form of to be. There's no place else to go but to dive after any form of have, after any form of to be. We have a double dive. Aurait été vendu. How many tenses do we have now?
More than 4.
More than 4?
I don't know how many.
Yeah, just guess.
10?
10. Ooh.
No?
6.
6. How about tripling the 6?
18.
18 tenses is right. Before going into the tenses, let me give you 3 master keys. 3 master keys that will open the door to all tenses. Master key number 1, on the key ring, you will find the ing key. In English, whenever you have the ing, it's either the present ing or the wing ing. So let's take wait. It could be I'm waiting. It could also be I have been waiting. I have been waiting for 10 minutes. Yes, I have been waiting, which is in French, I'm waiting since. So that's the ing. I'm waiting. I have been waiting. I was waiting. You can also say, I will be waiting for you. In French, it's just I will wait. There's no ing. I would be waiting. I would wait. So that is the ing key.
End of recording 3.